The first thing my parents taught me was how to wait. Not patiently, quietly. San Francisco International Airport roared around us, a living machine of rolling suitcases and hurried shoes. My father Ralphie walked ahead. My mother Holly followed. None of them held my hand. I was only 7 years old. I had to jog to keep up, my backpack thumping against my spine. "Stay right here," my mother said, pointing at the baggage carousel. Her smile was tight, practiced. "Count the bags. We'll be back before you finish." "How many?" I asked. She didn't look at me. "A lot." That should have been the warning. I climbed onto a cold metal bench near the oversized luggage claim. The conveyor belt groaned to life. Suitcases slid past like strangers who didn't know my name. I started counting out loud, because silence scared me even then. 1, 2, 3. Minutes passed, then more. The crowd thinned. Voices faded. The belt slowed until each suitcase felt like an effort, as if even the machine was getting tired of pretending. I reached 100. My parents didn't come back. I reached 200. My chest hurt in a way I didn't understand yet. At 300, the carousel stopped. That was the moment something broke. Not loudly. Quiet breaks are worse. I realized I hadn't seen panic on their faces when they left, only relief, like they'd set something heavy down. I whispered, "Mom?" The word fell flat on the floor. The airport lights buzzed. A janitor pushed a cart past without looking. I pulled my jacket tighter and slid off the bench, suddenly afraid that sitting meant staying forever. That's when a shadow blocked the fluorescent light. "Hey, kiddo," a man said softly. He crouched, slow and careful, like he was approaching a frightened animal. "Who are you waiting for?" I stared at his shoes, then at his eyes. They didn't rush me. "My parents," I said. "They said they'd come back." He nodded once. "How long ago?" I didn't know the answer. That scared me most. He exhaled, long and steady. "Okay," he said. "Then I'm staying with you." That sentence changed everything. If you've ever been left somewhere too big for your fear, tell me. Did you keep counting, or did someone finally stay? They tried to take me away 3 times that night. Airport security first. Then a woman from social services with tired eyes and a clipboard held like a shield. Then a police officer who asked my name as if it might already be lost. Each time the man, Martin Morgan, stood up. "She's not alone," he said calmly. "Not until she knows what's happening." I watched him from behind my knees, memorizing the way his voice didn't shake. Adults usually spoke loudly when they were scared. Martin didn't. At the shelter, the lights were dim and smelled like disinfectant and forgotten hope. I sat on a narrow bed, shoes still on, afraid sleep might erase me. Martin sat on the floor, his back against the wall. "You don't have to talk," he said, "but I'll be right here if you do." I whispered, "Are you leaving?" He didn't answer right away. That pause mattered. "No," he said finally. "I don't leave kids behind." The first night I slept in years without counting. Weeks turned into supervised visits. Paperwork, interviews. Words like temporary and placement floated over my head like threats. I learned Martin brought a book every time, not to read, but to give his hands something to do when he was nervous. One afternoon, a caseworker asked me, "Do you feel safe with Mr. Morgan?" I looked at him. He nodded once, like the answer was already mine. "Yes," I said. My voice surprised me. It was louder than before. The first time I called him Dad was an accident. I dropped a glass. It shattered. I panicked. "I'm sorry, Dad, I mean." He froze. Then he smiled, slow and fragile, like the word might break if he moved too fast. "That's okay," he said. "You can call me whatever feels true." He cooked terrible dinners. He taught me how to ride a bike, jogging beside me even when his breath gave out. When nightmares woke me screaming, he sat outside my door and read aloud until my breathing matched his. Years passed, each one layered with small victories and quiet lessons. Martin didn't just stay, he became my guardian, my constant. Slowly, the courts approved what my heart already knew. He was my father in every sense that mattered. Adoption papers signed, he smiled through trembling hands and whispered, "I chose you." What he didn't say, but what I felt, was this: he stayed when no one else did. And staying, I learned, is the bravest thing a person can do. 2 decades later, the world shifted without warning. Martin suffered a heart attack in his sleep. The man who had never abandoned me was gone. At his estate reading, the truth revealed itself. Martin had spent his life quietly building wealth, investing wisely, supporting causes he never boasted about. And now, all of it, $7.9 million, was mine. I felt a tangle of grief and responsibility coil in my chest. Martin hadn't left me money for luxury. He left me a mission, a chance to wield the power of his trust and to continue what he had started, safeguarding those the world had abandoned. And with the fortune came attention, and as I would soon learn, a storm from the past that had never truly let me go. The lawsuit arrived on a Tuesday morning, folded into my mailbox like a threat that knew my address. Ralphie Green and Holly Green versus Peyton Green. Custody, fraud, theft. I read it once as a daughter. My hands shook. I read it again as Martin had taught me, to slow my breathing and look for intent. "They're saying he stole you," my lawyer said quietly. "No," I replied. "They're saying I'm worth something now." The media circled fast. Adopted Harris inherits $7.9 million. Cameras parked outside Martin's house like vultures with tripods. And somewhere in that noise, my parents, my biological parents, found my name again. I didn't cry, not yet. Instead, I hired a forensic accountant. "Go back to the year I disappeared," I told her. "Don't look for love, look for money." 3 days later, she called me after midnight. "They sued the airline," she said. In 2005. My throat closed. The file was thick, cold, precise. Ralphie and Holly claimed their daughter had died due to airline negligence. No ticket number, no boarding pass, just grief shaped into paragraphs. Settlement, $520,000. Attached affidavit, presumed deceased. I sat on Martin's couch and pressed my palm to the paper like it might burn. "They declared you dead," my lawyer said softly. "No," I corrected. "They sold me." I remembered the airport, the counting, the way my mother didn't turn around. It hadn't been panic on her face. It had been calculation. I stood and walked to the window, watching reporters argue over parking spots. "They didn't lose a child," I said. "They closed an account." That night, I took Martin's old watch from the drawer and fastened it to my wrist. It was too big, heavy, but grounding. "They want to fight," my lawyer said. I looked at the affidavit again, at the signatures that erased me. "They already fought," I said. "They just didn't expect the dead girl to come back." The courtroom smelled like old wood and new lies. Ralphie sat rigid, hands folded like a man rehearsing innocence. Holly dabbed at her eyes before the judge even entered, grief already cued on her face. They looked the way parents are supposed to look when they've lost a child. If I hadn't lived the truth, I might believe them. "Call your next witness," the judge said. My attorney stood. "The defense calls Adam Green." The name landed like a dropped plate. Ralphie's head snapped up. Holly's hand froze mid-sob. Adam walked in slowly, shoulders tense, eyes hollowed by years of carrying something too heavy. I hadn't seen him since I was 7, since the airport, but I knew him instantly. Same jaw, same hesitation before every step. Like the ground might disappear. He didn't look at our parents. He looked at me. "I'm sorry," he said quietly before he was sworn in. The room held its breath. "What happened after Peyton disappeared?" my attorney asked. Adam swallowed. "They cried in public," he said. "At home they celebrated." Holly shook her head violently. "That's not true." Adam didn't flinch. 3 days after she was gone, they went to the Golden Bay Casino. "I know because I was there. They told me not to tell anyone." Murmurs rippled through the gallery. "They told churches she was dead," Adam continued. "They told neighbors they were searching. But every time rent was due, every time Dad lost money gambling, Peyton's fake death paid the bills, people felt sorry for them. And they took advantage of that." Ralphie stood. "That's enough." The judge slammed her gavel. "Sit down." Adam reached into his bag and placed a stack of receipts on the stand. Dates circled, times highlighted, proof that didn't cry or tremble. "They didn't lose her," he said, voice breaking at last. "They used her." Tears slipped down his face, unchecked. "I used to think Peyton was the lucky one. She ran away from her cruel parents to another world." He finally looked at me. "But now I know she survived." I stayed. Silence fell, heavy, crushing. The gavel fell like thunder. Case dismissed. Police officers led Ralphie and Holly out of the courtroom in handcuffs, their screams echoing down the courthouse hall, swallowed by the weight of every lie they had ever told. I didn't watch. I didn't need to. 27 years of silence had taught me how to stand tall while the world burned behind me. I walked out into the sunlight, Adam at my side. "We're free?" he whispered, voice trembling. "Yes," I said, "but freedom isn't sitting still, it's building." Martin's watch ticked on my wrist as I signed the papers for the fund to support children abandoned by their parents. Legal defense for children abandoned, forgotten, or sold by those meant to protect them. Every dollar of inheritance Martin trusted me with was a brick, a beam, a lifeline. I wasn't just the girl who had survived. I was the woman who made sure no one else would have to count luggage alone. In addition, I continued the work of my adoptive father Martin, investing in profitable, promising projects to justify his faith in me and increase the inheritance he left me.
Friends, what do you think of this story? Write your opinion in the comments. Would you like more stories? Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell button so you don't miss any videos. See you tomorrow.